Good evening, good morning, afternoon, depending on where you are. We are glad to be your way this evening, and it's always a privilege and honor to come your way. So please, before we proceed, take a minute or two. Let's share the link, invite our friends and families to be a partaker of what tonight's episode is about. Thank you. So 2 minutes, please share the link. Let's share the link and invite friends and families to join in. Let's see the background. Background. Okay. All right. Good evening again. Good morning. Good afternoon, depending on your location. There's some noise in the background. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but please, if you can check your background for us, so we can make use of our time for others to hear what we are going to discuss. Thank you. All right. So good evening once again. It's always a privilege to be your way. For the past 6 weeks, doing we've been discussing this topic on trauma, and it's been insightful and informative, very informative. And tonight we are here again on the topic journeying through trauma informed care. And I'm telling you, since you've been enjoying throughout the weeks, today is also a day that you also enjoy, and more information would come your way. You receive a lot of educational information to help yourself and help others around you. And so please take time, share the link again, whilst our dear counselors introduce themselves. So please share the link. Let's invite as many as we can to be part of what we are doing tonight. All right, so Lady Diana, good evening. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Please do share the link, like our page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and keep on commenting. God bless you. So, Lady Josephine, you are welcome. Thank you for joining. Keep sharing the link to others for them to also join. All right, I will introduce, or I will go to Reverend Cynthia to introduce herself and acknowledge our viewers for us. Reverend Cynthia, thank you for once again accepting our invitation. We are grateful to you, and it's always a privilege to work with you. So please do acknowledge our viewers for us. God bless you.
Right. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I just want to welcome everybody on board tonight. As in the past weeks, we have learned so much. And I believe that one way or the other, it's helped somebody. And so tonight as well, we are here to also help with how and what we can do to be able to overcome the issue of trauma. So if you are here, if you've been through before, or you know somebody that has been through, this is the time. So pay attention, because you not go back the same way you came. You will receive solution before you leave here tonight. So stay tuned. Thank you.
Stay tuned, everyone. God bless you, mommy. I'll keep saying mommy, but Reverend Cynthia, yes. All right, thank you very much. So I don't know if Reverend John, you can hear me, but if you can hear me, kindly acknowledge our viewers and say hello to them for us. Thank you.
Yes, I can hear you, Councillor. Now, thank you very much. Good evening, viewers. Once again tonight, by God's grace, we've come your way. We pray and we believe that whatever we are here to discuss will be a blessing, will bring healing and deliverance to someone. So please stay tuned and let's all work it together. God bless you for logging on. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay tuned. Let's work through together. All right. God bless you, man of God. All right. So I will kindly ask Lady Counselor Irene to also acknowledge your presence as well. You are very important to us. That's why we keep acknowledging you. So yes. Mommy, you are welcome. Thank you again for accepting our invitation. God bless
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Nav. I'm also grateful to be here with all of us. And our viewers out there, we want to encourage you. With the able counselors and reverend ministers on board, the Lord is going to use us to be a blessing to others. You are going through something, you see somebody going through it. You are not in alone. We are here to support you. And even if you are here, so don't go anywhere. Stay tuned to your set, and then together we'll sail through, and then healing will come to you. Thank you so much for
Amen.
watching. Stay tuned.
Amen. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. And we trust God that healing will come your way tonight. God bless you, woman of God. Thank you so much. And so, Our Lady Jasmine, you are very welcome once again. Thank you for always being here. It's a privilege to work with you. So kindly acknowledge our viewers. Let them feel special. The floor is
Thank you
yours.
very Thank you very much, Councillor Nav. Good evening, everyone. It's such an honor and a privilege once again to be here today. I am excited. I don't know about you, but I really am. Trauma informed care. We're just hoping that the bottom line is we're doing all this so that we can be of some help to someone. Maybe there might be one particular solution, there might be one word, one sentence that may be able to change the trajectory for someone. So we're hoping that we all tune in and stay tuned throughout the whole time. Hopefully, you will not leave disappointed. Thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you for coming. All right. So, yes, we are ready. Let me see the people I can acknowledge. So, I've seen people on. Please leave us a comment so I can acknowledge you. If you are on and you don't leave a comment, I won't see you. I can see you are on, but I won't be able to notice who is there. So kindly say hello to us. Say good evening. If you cherish our time with you, just say hello to us so we know. All right, so we know that you are with us. Okay. Francisca, all right. Good evening to you. Thank you for coming. Please do share the link. Okay, so as we are aware that Sandra, God bless you for joining. Thank you for joining. So for the past few weeks, yes, even though I'm the host, but I'm not the one leading on this particular topic. Our Lady Jasmine is the one driving us. And so I will hand over to her to do the rest or take us through the journey with our able counselors. So, Lady Jasmine, again, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time and I appreciate the effort. God richly bless you. I hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Nav. Welcome, everybody, once again. So, today is our day to journey through trauma informed care. So, before I go into that side of things, I think it'll be very useful for us to have a quick recap. So, I just want to quickly touch on the definition of trauma, and that's how far the journey we've come on along and the different types of trauma there are, and why it is actually necessary then for us to delve into trauma informed care. So, trauma can be defined as a lasting emotional response, typically to a distressing event that can affect a person's sense of safety, self, and the ability to regulate emotions and navigate relationships. It can be caused by a single event, which we call the acute trauma, or ongoing exposure to stressful situations, which can be either the chronic or the more complex, as we'd call it. Those are the three main categories of the trauma, as from the start of the program a few weeks back we touched on. It can be caused by a single event, as I said, ongoing exposure to stressful situations. The term trauma can also refer to a physical injury, often caused by an external force. But I think mostly the focus from where we started off was from the complex type of trauma, which runs a lot deeper. It often stems from childhood, which finds its expression in later life. So when people have been exposed to ongoing, continuous, stressful situations, it can actually create a very big problem for them to be able to enjoy good outcomes for their life, their general well-being. So then we delved into complex trauma from childhood events and how these do impact on us as people, and not just the person who's experiencing the trauma, but everybody else around them, because there's a ripple on effect. And sometimes you can often find yourself in this cycle that we can call a revolving door, where it's just this repetitive cycle of not being able to come out of and constantly finding yourself reliving that stressful moment. And we delved into some case studies. Some of it was quite traumatizing as well. And but it was very, very useful for our learning. And today, I think as we're moving on to journey through the trauma informed care, so when somebody's actually gone through all these experiences, stressful events, experiences, how are we then able to support them efficiently or effectively so that they're able to then address it? Because it is possible. It is definitely possible. So today, as usual, we would also be exploring trauma informed care through the lens of case studies. But before we get there, I think it's useful for me to then now start touching on trauma informed care. So, to define trauma informed care, it is a compassionate, I'm going to be reading from my notes. Trauma informed care is a compassionate and person centered approach that recognizes the impact of trauma on individuals' lives by implementing the key principles and examples that will be mentioned soon. Healthcare professionals can create environments that foster healing and recovery. So I think that in itself is giving us an indication that in order for people to get that proper support and help to be able to then navigate their way out of trauma, you will need some input from some healthcare professionals, I'm presuming. So most of us on here now, we're healthcare professionals. I'm a mental health practitioner. We've got Reverend Abankwa, who's a social care practitioner. We've got Counselor Irene, who's a therapist in Ghana. And we've got Reverend Cynthia, who is a lead pastor. She's a Reverend minister. She manages a congregation or by herself, which I know is probably more than a healthcare professional. So we all operate within the confines or within the environments in which we could potentially come across people who experience trauma. And some of the case studies we had touched on from previous episodes, we dealt with, trauma about grooming, things, situations arising from, people's religious predispositions and bringing in somebody into the home to come and violate their children. We've touched on quite a few and we've dealt with a few case studies, but yeah, and somebody who had a dream and, they had lost their mom and, the whole thing was mismanaged. So yeah, this is the trauma informed care where we need to all apparently create an environment that would foster healing and recovery. So this is also, there's another interesting bit which says whether you work in a clinical setting or any other healthcare context, adopting trauma informed care can make significant difference in the well-being of those that you serve. So as I said, Reverend Cynthia may be a shepherd, but within that capacity, she's able to also then offer the right support to people who will need it. So it's literally like safeguarding. It's everybody's business, trauma-informed care. If one second, please. I think it might be one of our ladies here. Sorry. So yes, moving on from that, it says that ensuring that these people that will be serving receive the care and support that they truly need. So it was mentioning, talking about the 6 principles of trauma informed care, and the first one, I hope people are taking note of this. It says there has to be a trauma awareness. So that is the first principle. And when we say trauma awareness, what do we mean by this? It's those who are trauma informed will understand the prevalence and the impact of trauma among their service recipients or whoever we're serving. And it says that policies, our practices, everything that we do should reflect this awareness. And it may be supported with activities such as screening and assessments. So, over the last few weeks, we have really delved into different types of trauma, some of the symptoms, the presentations, and even we've delved into having some complex situations where there could be potential conflict of interest, because as people from Black and ethnic minority backgrounds, sometimes our own way of life can in itself become quite difficult for us to be able to navigate our way in terms of being able to do the right thing or the needful when needed. So, in terms of the trauma awareness, this is what we're talking about, that it's very important that we all understand the prevalence that it exists and also the impact that it could potentially have. So the second principle is safety. So safety, when we say safety, we're meaning the safety of the individuals who are experiencing the trauma and those also being able to support them. Safety is always paramount. Trauma-informed care ensures that physical and emotional safety is a priority. This can include providing a welcoming and non-threatening environment. So, for example, Reverend Cynthia operates within a church. For some people, that's where they find their peace and their solace. Their faith is a very significant part. When we go back to reflecting on the biopsychosocial model perspective, which is one of my favorite ones by George Engel. And it's being able to kind of look beyond the situation and being able to really delve into, supporting people in ways that would resonate with them, that would be relatable for them. So the safety element is talking about, us ensuring that physical and emotional safety is a priority, which includes providing that environment, the facilitating environment that is not very threatening. And then we've also got the third principle, which is trustworthiness. And when we say trustworthiness in this context, we mean being reliable, being transparent, and being consistent in all the interactions that we have with people who are going through trauma, experiencing trauma. For us who are on that other end, giving them the support. So essentially, even though healthcare professionals would probably be very useful and ideal by virtue of expertise and training and whatnot, any of us can actually be somebody if only we are willing to open up to learn, to listen, and to be able to support. Then we should all be equipped to be able to actually offer that support to people, our loved ones, our friends, anybody around us. So being reliable is really important, being transparent. So we need to be honest and we need to be very consistent, in our interactions. So, for example, if you're supporting somebody and you're listening to them as a practitioner, I always have to make a disclaimer on confidentiality. So, in as much as I am bound, whatever we speak about, usually, typically, if you come to me with all ears open, I will be very welcoming. I always have to put it out there that I also have a duty of care within my professional capacity. And it is an expectation by, the NMC, who is actually my regulatory body, and also just by the code of conduct as well to practice as a nurse. That I think for doctors, they have their own oath that they swear and all that. So in every discipline. And if you do disclose things to me, obviously from my own professional with my professional capacity or lens on, or even in personal, which I feel would be something that could potentially cause you harm or harm to other people, then it's really important. I'm very honest from the start to let you know, look, I'm here. I'll keep things between us. But if I feel there's any reason to escalate, I will have to. So that way, you're building that trust, isn't it, on a very, very good ground. Yeah. So don't go promising things to people. Oh, I can sort you out. I can do this when you're not actually essentially able to do it. Because these are some of the examples of being honest and transparent. Don't promise people the world and not be able to, because that could then even create even more trauma for the person. So that's the third principle. And whoever you're supporting, they need to trust that you, as their helper, you do have their best interest at heart. That's also a very key thing. So then we've got the next principle, which is choice and empowerment, which is the fourth principle of trauma informed care. So when we say choice and empowerment, what I think in this context is implying is to facilitate healing and to avoid re-traumatization. Which sometimes can even be worse than what they've come to you. People should never come to you and leave feeling worse off, because then there's that danger where they could find themselves in that revolving door. And sometimes the outcomes or the consequences could be a lot worse or far more detrimental than, and we don't want that. So then it also says trauma informed service delivery. It says choice and empowerment are part of trauma informed service delivery for both service recipients and the staff. So it's very, very important for not just even you as a supporter or a facilitator supporting somebody through trauma, but also for them as well. So it's a two-way, two-dimensional principle. So there's also collaboration, which is the fifth one, fifth principle of trauma-informed care. And in this context, we're talking about care being a collaborative effort between the caregiver and the individual. So it's about agreement, isn't it? So even obviously as a Christian from the Bible, there's a scripture in Matthew says, how can two people walk together except they agree? So in as much as maybe you might not really necessarily know exactly, be able to say you understand the perspective they're coming from, or you've been through what they've been through, whatever it is, the point is it's a joint effort. So we're here to work together in partnership, and that way we're all equal partners in being able to get to that resolution, the desired or anticipated outcome. So yes, it says that clients are seen as partners in their recovery journey, with their inputs valued. So it's really important, because at the end of the day, primarily it's about that person and their trauma. It's their experience. It's what they have gone through. So you're there to support them. And we should never lose focus of the fact that that is what we're there to do. So it's all should always be centered around them. And that's where the person-centeredness comes in. And I think that's where I call it the make or break, because if people are feeling they're being listened to, they're being valued, their input, and it's all about them and being able, they can probably guide you through what could really work for them, because they probably know themselves better than you and I. So that's really important, that we make people feel valued, they feel listened to, they're feeling like this is actually their story and they are part of that story, they're taking ownership. And then the last principle, which is the sixth one, is strengths-based. So in that context, I believe that it's more about focusing on the strength and resilience of the people that we're supporting, and being able to help them to build the skills that will help them to move in a positive direction, because that is the epitome, that's like the ultimate outcome. Because normally before you do anything, you engage in any interaction with people. So you can have student-teacher relationship, you can have pastor-flock relationship, you can have mother-child relationship or parent-to-child, you can have friend-to-friend, different kinds of, employer to employee. Whatever the relationship or interaction would always be, there should always be an anticipated outcome. So I love to teach. We always say before you deliver sessions, you need a lesson plan. You need to have determined or ascertained what your anticipated outcomes will be, learning outcomes. So it's the same thing with whenever you're embarking on a journey to support somebody, it is really important that we take these things into consideration. So I think, yeah, we've got the six principles, for trauma-informed care. And I think I'll just do a quick recap. So we've got trauma awareness, that's the first one. We've got safety, that's the second principle we need to bear in mind. Trustworthiness is the third one. Choice and empowerment is the fourth one. Collaboration is the fifth one. And then we've got strength space. That is the sixth one. Yes. So moving on from there, I hope it's making a bit of sense. So, with the case studies that we're going to unravel, and I'll be throwing the questions to everybody, and from the audience, it'll be really useful to actually have people engage with us. So, these case studies are very, very special to all of us, actually, because we've got, I think the people involved have given the permission. So, especially for the first case study that we're going to unravel now, we have consent and permission to actually share. So, please let's all be very mindful in how we're approaching or how we're responding to things, because we could actually have should I say, a victim or the traumatized person or the person with a lived experience on there. So please let's also show as much support as we can, to be each other's keeper. And then also, yeah, any positive contributions will be very welcome as we unravel through the case studies. So, our very first case study for discussion, remember, we're dealing with trauma informed care. So, now we're going to have to start kind of figuring out ways to support this person to be able to then navigate their way towards a more resilient, positive outcome. So, it's a lady who I think this story stemmed from so many years ago when the person was a teenager. They were 19 to be exact. It's a person from the global majority background, mixed background of Asian and Caribbean. And I find, just to put it out there, I think it's such a brave thing for someone to be able to actually volunteer their story so we can actually use it for a discussion. So thank you so much if you're listening. I think you're one of the most bravest people that we could ever probably know. And I hope today, by the end of this, you'll find a lot more peace and find a way forward, hopefully, for a better result and outcome. So this young lady was a teenager, fell in love, as we usually do, got married to somebody who was a Muslim. They immigrated out of the country. The person was, I believe, a soldier. So she had to join her husband, immigrate out of the UK, traveling to one of the Middle Eastern countries. And unfortunately, when she got there, she began to experience abuse from her husband. A young girl left her family, everything, went out there. Physical, sexual, all kinds of abuse that you can possibly think of. Eventually, they had 2 children. She was able to gather the strength and courage at some point to start seeking help. And eventually she was able to come in contact with organizations that were able to, nonprofit, that were able to support her. She came back, Women's Aid apparently being one of them, giving her the support and everything. And, it got to a point where obviously to have that courage was the biggest hurdle. But then there were a lot of challenges along the way as well in the process. Obviously, she would face a lot of rejection from family, because obviously she stood out and she's been brave enough to speak about it. But once again, from our cultural backgrounds and predispositions, there's certain things we don't talk about. You just need to manage it by yourself, and it will go away. I don't know how they think it will go away, but usually we're subjected to these kind of notions. And so she had all these things to deal with in the process. And then there was the financial struggle as well. So in as much as she was getting a bit of support from Women's Aid and different organizations, it still wasn't enough. Having young children, relocating completely, your whole life turning upside down, having to kind of do a whole full 360 turn, and having no support, no family, no collateral support. That must have been really, really something, a very traumatizing experience for this young lady. But she still kept pushing through. There were times, the bit that really brought tears to my eyes the first time I heard the story was when, obviously being a mother myself, to hear that there were times that she needed her baby's nappies were so soaked, and she had no money to actually get nappies to change babies' nappies. I mean, that is something on a whole different level on its own. And yeah, somehow, some way, she's actually fought through and she's come out on the other side. She has experience. Apparently, she's had, offers for counseling, different types of things, but I think she still lives with that pain and the hurt. And apparently, she's having panic attacks when she goes places, because of all the things that she experienced. It's actually impacting on her relationship life. She's an adult, it's been so many years. In fact, her children are now literally young adults now, I believe. But for her own self, she's done really fantastic to support her kids. And I'm sure the children also probably have their own fair share of the experience and how that has impacted on them. And and the mum now is actually, so when people go through this trauma thing, like as we're saying, they're able to miraculously, sometimes when you're very fortunate to get the right support, to come out of that space. We need to actually be very mindful of the fact that it doesn't just happen that because you've come out of that space, that's the end of it. There is a lingering effect, there's a ripple on effect. There's so many things that can actually happen that can also then find expression in later life. So whether we like it or not, we're kind of stuck with this, this frame of mind, the state of mind. And it just takes quite a lot. For me as a Christian, I would say it takes the grace of God to be able to even deal with our day-to-day challenges. So yes, I would like to really throw it out there to the general audience and also to our counselors on here. Where would we get this lady to start from? Where would we think? I mean, what would be the starting point for her journey to healing? Because apparently she's experienced different things. She's been to counseling, she's had different things. So what could we really give the advice or the expertise or knowledge that could really make an impact? Councillor Irene, would you like to go first?
Yeah.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry to say something. She's a strong woman because looking at all that she has gone through, children who are now young adults. So she's a
Yeah.
strong woman. She is a really and appreciate her. Even though she has gone through a lot, she still thinks that she can, I mean, the we appreciate the fact that he's gone through therapy and all that. We need to let things go, though they may not be easy. Because as long as she hold on to the pain and the past, it keeps on hitting her. From the therapies and the counseling and all that. I believe she's a Christian. I don't know, but I believe she's a Christian. Even though she was married, she was a Christian.
Yes.
So that's one of the healing. That will help her in this healing. Because being human, counting all that she has been through, it has had a very heavy toll on her. And like you said, she's gone through therapies and all that. But then there's something she has to do, which is letting go of the pain. And that one, like you said from the beginning, it takes the grace of God. It takes the grace. Because it says if you come to Him, He will give it. And so it's about time she lay all this baggage under the feet of the Lord. For her to experience any therapy and benefits, she has to lay this heavy laden under the feet of the Lord. Because, and other than that, she will go through every whatever therapy, but she will still be where she is. But like I said from the beginning, I appreciate her and I salute her for all that she has done. She's a great woman. To come this far, she's a great woman. And I believe that what is left, she can do it. Yes, she can. She needs to, like, if she's a Christian, like we are all saying, then she should lay this one under the stone. It's a burden alone she's carrying. Because apparently, I believe she has not forgiven the husband. That one too can be one of it. If she's holding all the pain and whatever the man put into it, will be very difficult for her to heal and benefit from any counseling. So what I will encourage you to do is, it will not be easy to let it go and forgive. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So this is the point where we have to forgive the husband. And once he's able to forgive and let it go, any penalty that is given will work on him. I'll say that for now, and then the rest will follow, so that the others can also come. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will go to Reverend Cynthia, please. So, what's kind of advice? I know it's quite a heavy. It's a very I can tell from everyone's face. It's quite sad, isn't it? Some of the things people have to deal with. So, please give us your take on it.
Thank you very much. I think I support what Reverend Irene has said. For her to come through what she's been through and is still standing, it's a great achievement. She's done really, really well. She's a strong woman. That's one thing. No, she should not allow anybody to take from her. She's very strong. Now, what I want to say is that you need to look at the steps that you have taken so far. Look at the journey that you've come from, how far you've been here. You've come and been here. And do not allow what has been in the past, even though there were, struggles here and there, but you were able to push through until today. You must let the past be in the past. I totally agree with Reverend Irene. If we do not let the past be in the past, we will struggle to make the necessary steps ahead that we need to make. Now, one thing you need to understand is that if you're walking ahead and you keep looking back, you will bump into something and hit yourself on a physical note. In the same way, emotionally, if you don't decide to look ahead and focus, and if you keep looking back, there will be a time where you will crash. And so, for the rest of her life, who knows how long she's got? Who knows it's 20 years? Who knows it's 30 years? For the rest of her life, she needs to enjoy rather than holding on to the past, holding on to the pain of the past. She will never go forward. She will not enjoy. And so, for the sake of your children, for the sake of your own life, let go of this man. He probably is enjoying his life. Then you are the one that's stuck in the whole trouble. So I will advise that make sure, as with Reverend Irene has said about the prayer, pray and ask God to give you the strength that you need to carry on. Lay down the weight that you are carrying so that you become lighter and will be able to take the necessary steps of the journey that is ahead of you, enjoying your life, enjoying your children, enjoying who knows if another man is coming, enjoying that as well. That man is probably enjoying his life and you allow him to dictate your life now, which is not what you want. And so, as difficult and as hard as it seems, and I still support Reverend Irene, that you can go through all the therapies, the decision to let go of the past is in your hands. The decision to let that which happened be in the past and enjoy your today and your tomorrow is in your hands. At the moment, you're still giving it to him because he is controlling your life now. You're allowing him to control. And so if you want your life to be enjoyable, peaceable, and enjoy everything that God has in store for you. Then let go of the past, let go of the pain, and then handle what God has given you today and move forward and enjoy the benefits of what God has promised you. Please, my sister, the past is the past. Paul said something. He said, I forget about what is in the past and I press on, because there's so much to achieve. There's so much you can do. There is so much you can do with your children. There is so much you can train and become something better. There is so much ahead of you. If you allow him to still control your life, you remain where you are. So that would be my advice. Pray, but also make an intentional decision that you will not remain where you are, and you march on and you move forward, just like Paul said. So that would be my advice to her. Let your children see you
Thank
and be
you.
proud that mom is moving forward. Mom is doing well, and let them be happy about you as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very, very
Mm.
much, Mummy, Reverend Cynthia. Yeah, I always do that. As I said, yeah, she's my mom, so I always call, I forget. Very much, Reverend. That was a very powerful analogy as well. Thank you, Councillor Irene. So I'm going to go to this one's a tough one. Uncle Reverend Avankwa. So I think for you, your perspective, I want to throw it into more the social care from the social care cap. In terms of if there's anything at all, what is your take on this whole thing? Or maybe you could use the biopsychosocial anyway, from whichever angle. But it will be
Mm.
interesting to hear a man's perspective as well.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. And as Councillor Irene and Reverend Cynthia have already said, you see, it's a very sensitive issue, and it's a very um, it can break you emotionally. It can really physically, mentally. It has all the effects. But you see, as you went through the principles of trauma-informed care, one of the sixth point is strength-based. And for this person, the person has been able to, no matter how difficult it was, put her life together, brought up her children. They are now young adults, and uh, aside all the trauma that she went through, she's been able to do that. She has focused on, you know, uh, uh, uh,
Yeah, I think it's probably connection
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
Oh, this is sad because I was really enjoying what he was
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. I
So
just want to say
maybe we
something.
could probably yes, yes,
Yeah, I wanted to say something. I think when you were giving the information on what trauma informed care is, you made mention of the revolving door. And the thing is that,
yes.
yeah, what is happening is that every time you remember, it's like you are swinging. Every time you remember, it's like you're swinging, and then you come back to your old place. And so we have to remove that door. You have to remove it. Remove that door from your life. And like I said, let the children see you and be so happy about you because of what you have done, how you have come, how far you've come, and how you've broken through. And if you make your life a healthy one, a happy one, the children will be so proud of you, and you will be proud of yourself. Because what you're doing now is that, like I said, you're allowing him to swing you over and over and over because your emotions are telling you that I'm not good enough. I can't get far enough. And it's you are thinking of what you went through, what he did to you. And so don't just remove that revolving door. Remove it and make that decision to move forward. Because if you keep standing on it and swing and swing and swing, there is no way that you go ahead. So yeah.
Thank you very much,
Mm.
Rami. Welcome back, Reverend Abango.
Yes, thank
We
you.
missed it, yeah. We missed it from the bit where you were about to talk into the string bass. You're just
That's
starting on
right.
the string bass.
Mm.
We lost it.
That's right. Apologies. These technologies, they have their mind of their own.
Never mind.
Yes, I was talking about the strength base, and she's been able to at least give her children that care despite the trauma, despite the challenges and the difficulties. So it is a strength base. It's, she should look at it from that point. Her life hasn't gone, she's not dejected. She's not, no matter the emotional roller coaster, she has still been able to keep together some form of resilience. So
Mm.
that is a positive on her side. But you see, when it comes to healing from such unfortunate trauma situation, time is of the essence. Time, because and you can't put a limit on time. Some are very rapid, some are very slow, some take a long time. And how long is a piece of string? You cannot tell. So the whole issue is about looking at the principles. She needs to trust again. She needs to trust again. And this is one of the issues. She needs to feel safe. Safe in a way that, okay, I am safe. I'm not under any form of threat. I'm not under any form of, you know, uh, uh, um, uh, uh, sort of worry. So that once she feels safe and she gets the opportunity to trust again, then she can make informed choices, because now these issues can scar you. It can emotionally scar you. It can scar you mentally. So now the issue of taking a bold step. I mean, imagine if a man were to come into her life and say, you know what, I love you, I want to go out with you. What would be going on in her mind? Because this has left a scar, and this scar needs to heal so that she can move on and make a choice, which will, and that choice is not easy to be made. It's not really easy at all. So she needs to make sure to feel that, you know what, at least I am now safe. I'm not in that situation. This individual, I may not know what they are also bringing, but at least I have some kind of defenses that when I sense any triggers, I know I have an escape
Okay.
route. So she should be able to have all that built in. Then at least that will help her to start putting her life back together. Because at the moment, yes, she's been able to care for her children and all that, but I believe that is not all to life. There are more. I mean, of course, if she get a man to start, restart her life, yes, of course, that would be nice. But this has been a barrier, and she needs to get over this. But you cannot get over it if you don't try, because it's like learning. You can learn for examination. You think you know, but let the question come. That is where you know whether you learned or not. So you need to take that step. If you don't take that step, you wouldn't know whether your healing is happening or you are
Yeah.
stuck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, yes,
It's Grandma. I wanted to say something, two things from what Reverend John just said. One is the scar. Having a scar. Sometimes we want to cover our scars. We don't want anybody to see. But looking at your scar will tell you what you've been through. It will give you what you have been through, and you are still here. So take it as if that what you've been through has left a scar on you. Don't let it prevent you from cooking again because you bent yourself. Don't let it stop you from cooking again. You've been through a lot. Yes, that is, we totally agree. But if you don't make that decision, it can affect your tomorrow. And like we're saying, even if she's able to have a relationship with somebody, get into marriage, the tendency of you carrying that pain and that trauma into that relationship is massive. The person might be a good person, but because of your past experience, Let him lift his hand. You have a meaning to that. Let him say something. You will have a meaning to that. And so try and deal with those things. Let go of the past, the power of your choices. Make that choice for yourself so that you are able to overcome anything and enjoy life. We don't have much, length of time to enjoy life. And so what you have now, you have to protect it and you have to enjoy it. So my sister, I want to encourage you, leave the past behind. It's difficult. It's easier to say than done, but it is a choice and a decision that you have to make for your happiness tomorrow, for your happiness today, so that you can also enjoy your life. Please, I will beg of you that leave it behind. Please try and
Thank
leave
you.
it behind and enjoy life.
Thank you so
Mm.
much, Reverend Cynthia. So I have something as well. Oh, Councillor Irene, why do you have something to say?
Yes, I just wanted to say that our sister, when we look at the principles that we just
Mm.
educated us on, she has about 70% of all that
Mm.
because she's already at a safe place. She's no more
Yeah.
with a man. She has relocated, and where she is safe enough for her to move on with her life. And when you look at the trust where Uncle John touched on, that is where she has a problem, trusting again. And I believe that Reverend Cynthia and John Amankwa has said, if she would take it, it's going to help her. And then the choices, she has it, the resilience, she has it. Because if she didn't have the resilience, she
Mm.
couldn't have
She
gotten
wouldn't
to
be
this
here.
place. Yes, it means that she has all it takes to make her life better. She has everything. It's just that now she has to let go of the past. Like Reverend Cynthia said, until she lets go, she will not enjoy the beautiful life at that lays her. Because very soon, these children will go and they will always go and have their independent life. They will go to their own, have their own family. And then that is where, so this is the time that our dear sister has to work on herself. And this is where we come to the principle of collaboration. Because she has had therapists and people working, but then there's a bit that she has to work on. And that is where she is now. That is where letting go of the past. So the foundation and the truth is where she needs to go. So our sister, if you are listening to us, we want to encourage you to work on the trust issue and then the collaboration where the bit of yours, if you're able to do that, I tell you, like Reverend Cynthia said, you are going to enjoy a beautiful life because you have a greater life ahead of you. And who knows? Like Reverend Abankwa said, maybe God has prepared another man somewhere who is coming to make your life, coming to give you the joy. And maybe you didn't get the chance to live. But then if you keep on holding on to your peace, you will never enjoy this beautiful gift that God is maybe preparing for you. So wherever you are, we want to encourage you that you have everything that it is. God has really blessed you. You have the resilience, you have everything that you have to be able to move on to the next stage of your life. So we want to encourage you. You have beautiful life ahead of you. And the Bible tells us that with Christ, with Christ in the boat, we will always smile at the storm. So whatever it is, He's here to help you so that you will carry on. Thank you so much, our dear sister, wherever you are. I believe you are watching and listening to us.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, Councillor Irene. These are also wonderful. So it's funny how everybody came back to speak because my input kind of was going to touch a little bit on what everybody said, but I still have a little bit to add as well. Thank you so much. I think I'm thinking about it more practically from a mental perspective or from a practitioner bit from my end, which is in terms of the six principles. Like I think you've all rightfully said it. The trust, remember I spoke about that trust thing where, I think she has to reteach or relearn the ways to kind of go over life again. Reverend Cynthia said, give yourself the chance. And I think when we say for us to forgive, it's actually not so much for the other person's benefit, it's more
Mm.
for our benefit, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
then when you haven't forgiven, it's like you're holding on to something from the past, and then it's weighing you down, because then it's kind of like you're not able to take both steps forward. You're putting one forward, but one is behind. And then Councillor Irene's also spoken about. I was really enjoying where you were going with it, saying, like in the sixth thing, looking at the cycle. We even spoke about the revolving door. Mami spoke about that as well. So for me, I think, I don't know, in my mind, I'm kind of looking at it in a very simple way that, Miss, if you're on there, I think the first thing, so we'll take the six principles. So now let's take it that we're wiping a slate clean. Let's look at it as if it's a whole new um, slate. Okay, before we come to my bit, I guess there's some messages on there. We have a message from Francisca Boateng Barney, who says, hello. Hello, Miss Francisca. Lovely to have you on here. Are there any more messages, Councillor Nab? I think that's the only one. So I'll go back to what I was saying. So when we're looking at all the six, it's kind of like we're wiping the slate clean now. So I think now the key things that everybody probably agrees with is the fact that she's come a very long way now. She's in a whole different space. So just because, as I said earlier, just because somebody's removed themselves from the traumatizing space doesn't mean that it stops there and it ends there. So it'll probably take, as we said, Reverend Abankwa did mention that some people, their recovery is very rapid. Some people, it's very slow. Some people, so we're all very different. But one thing that I think I agree with everybody is that there's a purpose for each and every one of us. God had us all in mind when he was creating us. So I think, yeah, there's another message that's come through from Diana Tete. Thank you very much. She says, hello, everyone. Hello, Miss Diana. You're welcome. I have a feeling there's a bit of a delay. That's why the messages are not coming through as quick enough. Yes, so I'll go back again to what I was saying. When we take the trauma awareness, I think now it's a whole new era, new space. So now we want to deal with the recovery from her own perspective. So as Councillor Irene said, that she actually possesses a lot of the qualities from the six principles that we've spoken about anyway, the resilience, all these things like the safety and things. She's already in a safe place, but we want to go through it one by one. So with trauma awareness, my advice would probably be to you, Miss, that it's always useful to have a clean sheet of paper. However, where people have different ways they might want to how they might want to do it. But I normally like to have a clean sheet of paper. And maybe it would be nice in this new space where you find yourself, where you're removed from the trauma from so many years ago. We're now about to move into a new dimension. So it'll be useful for you to have a good understanding of what your current issue is, or the situation, where the situation is currently, and then we take it from there. Because sometimes when we want to keep delving back into the old, it kind of then it gives a very clouded judgment, doesn't it? Because then things are getting a bit muddled up. So as you've had some support in the past to get to where you are now, and even your own hard work as well, it would be nice for us to look at the trauma awareness again in terms of being quite being very honest with yourself in terms of what you feel your current situation is with regards to what you've experienced. That way, it will then make it easier for you to then navigate the pathway through. Because I think there's a lot of choice and autonomy here as well. Thank God now you're in a place where you can decide. So actually, you can take control in a way, next to, God giving you the strength that you need. I think a lot of it actually stems from within as well. It's about your readiness, your willingness. Do you really want to get past this? If you do, then you have a choice from the first principle. So you have a choice to choose somebody that you think you can relate to. And now we know it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody in a clinical setting to support people who go through trauma, because sometimes being people from the global majority, or we say the Black and ethnic minority backgrounds, our cultural predispositions are quite different. The way our nuances, the way we perceive the world around us and how the world perceives us can be quite different. So it might not necessarily sit well or align with maybe your typical therapist in terms of the role and how they practice or how they administer or deliver support. So then in this instance, you have that autonomy and you have the control to determine who you want to share your trauma thing with, somebody that you would find relatable enough to think, actually, I would really enjoy to sit with them to kind of, help me go through this. And then in terms of the safety bit, it is paramount that you're safe, which thankfully you are now. But it would be really, because it says that it's supposed to ensure your physical and emotional safety. So it could be providing like a welcoming and non-threatening environment. So you have a choice again to kind of pick and choose. If you were to nominate somebody, it could be a family friend, it could be a pastor, it could be anybody that you trust yourself to think, actually, I'm comfortable to share myself for this person to hold my hand. You can then also determine which space you're doing it in. Whatever interactions you're having, you have that choice in the space to choose. And then in terms of the trustworthiness, the person being reliable and all these things, it also comes, it's kind of like, kind of all interconnected, isn't it? So you're choosing somebody, you having that choice, the power to choose, that in itself can be very empowering and reassuring, in the sense that you're choosing somebody that you are confident and know. So it's not somebody who's been chosen for you and you having to now get to know them to then figure out whether they're a good fit or not. You have that autonomy, you have that control, you have that choice. And then in terms of choice and empowerment, the healing, again, being able to avoid the re-traumatization. Because what, if you're able to then really identify the key areas that you're still struggling with, that you think moving forward would really help, then it kind of eliminates the opportunity for there to be a re-traumatization. Because first of all, you're choosing a trusted person, somebody that would already be quite open and very savvy with all the pertinent details of the situation. So it saves you from having to constantly re-explain yourself and reliving that moment, the trauma. Hopefully they would already have all that. So it's a case of them holding your hand. It's more a therapeutic engagement rather than anything. So that would be the fourth principle, with the choice and empowerment. So when it comes to the collaboration, that is also stemming, that kind of also follows off from your choice, like being able to choose somebody who you think in your own self, you believe they're reliable, they're trustworthy, because we all have different criteria, don't we? All have different checklists. I may probably look at somebody and think this person is reliable because I may have my own checklist in my own mind. But to somebody else, those things might not really suffice for them because they're looking at something else. They have a different perspective. So it's about finding that relatable person, or, the person that you feel you can connect with, to really give you that support. And then the collaboration, it would be really useful for you to work with them, because you need to be willing, as I said, the willingness and the readiness to also then accept the help and to actually really have an anticipated end goal. So this is where this collaboration comes in play, because you are putting your hands up that, yes, no man is an island. Yes, you can't do it on your own. Yes, we get that, because none of us really can. You've done so fantastically well to even come this far. And that is something that really needs to be celebrated and appreciated. But then is the moving forward, that would be really useful, I think, because recovery, sometimes I think as a mental practitioner, when we talk about recovery, recovery is not just about the whole thing with, even if somebody is mentally unwell, we're thinking medication, we're thinking that it's not all this. Recovery, actually, primarily, it's about your day-to-day space. It's about that, when we look at the biopsychosocial, it's mainly around that social support system. So from people from the global majority or the ethnic, backgrounds, thankfully it is one plus for us, isn't it? Because our predispositions are actually, our support system is centered around that external support system. We really rely heavily on that. So hopefully you'll be able to find the trusted kind of support that you need to collaborate with them, because there's power and safety in unity. I always say there's safety in numbers. So if only you can partner with, the right people and be willing and open to do that, hopefully you will begin to enjoy a very good trajectory. It may not happen instantly, it may take some time, but it will be a process. And you would have been the one spearheading it. You're actually kind of navigating it yourself, so you can take that ownership. And then we come to the last bit, which is the strength based, which we all agree that you have really done like most part of that work already, because that resilience is what has brought you this far. And it's about being able to know when to reach out, when to seek the help, and being able to even plow through when the going got tough, when you couldn't afford the nappies and all that. And, so I think it's about, rather, in terms of that last part, it's about you being able to then appreciate yourself and give yourself a pat in the back to just kind of, and this can become like a change cycle. So even though the revolving door we've been talking about up until now has been more to get rid of the negative revolving door, you can create a new positive revolving door, in the sense that when you've tried one person or one cycle, and you still think, actually, I still have a bit of way to go, you don't have to stick with that same person. You may have different people support around you, so you can try somebody else. So that in itself is gradually getting you, each step, each cycle is getting you closer to that anticipated strength-based resilient outcome, that hopefully we all hope, and I sincerely pray that you will eventually get there, and you'll be very, very happy to say, actually, I have been doing this. So there's no shame in it, going through the loop a few times, so long as it's with that positive mindset. It's with I'm so sorry, pardon me. I had a little sneeze. So long as you're keeping at it and you're not giving up and you just keep pushing, God will do his bit. We're all here to support you in any way we can. And you just make the most of all the people that are around you. And the good thing is, the great news is, you get to choose. You're in charge, you're in control of it. So you can determine and decide who you're getting the support that you think you need from. And I just hope that this has kind of given you a bit more clarity, and it's shed a bit more light. And hopefully you'll be leaving here today feeling, you've gained something. But I think now, moving from this, thank you so much, all our counselors. Unless, has anybody got anything else to say before we read some of the messages, or we open it up to the general public to see if anybody has any contributions they might want to add or to join in? I'm not sure, Councillor Nab, is that possible?
Um,
Oh,
I just,
okay. Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to say the fact that she's brought it up
Yeah.
to be looked at is a sign of her readiness to step
Yes.
forward, to move forward. And so, yeah, keep going. Don't beat yourself. You're doing the right things. Very soon you get to a point where you look back and say that, see how far I've come. So keep going, keep knocking on the right doors, on the right people, that can give you that confidence and that, support that you need. So yeah, you are not.
Thank you
I
very
know you are not where you used to be. It's a process, and you come far, and you go far.
Thank you so
Mm.
much, Reverend Cynthia. So we've got one comment here from Joseph Addo. He says, "Good evening, everyone." Good evening, Mr. Joseph. We've got our own dad, Mr. Edward Sutherland. He says, "It is my singular honor to join this platform again." You're very welcome, Daddy. We've got Josephine Nimako, who says, "Good evening." Good evening, Miss Josephine. Welcome. We've got Nan Nukai. It is another wonderful evening. Thank you very much. Pray with Delphine. Good evening. It's always a blessing to be here. Thank you. Thank you very much, Miss Delphine. Inspire Lena. Case study 1. Yes, it is case study 1. Highly lifted MFA prayer. Thank you. We've got Solomon Kwejo Akosa. Nice program. Continue doing a good job to help mankind. May the good Lord see you through. Thank you very much, Mr. Solomon. We've got Francisca Boatimbani who says it's phenomenal what you've achieved despite the past. So this is to the lady. I hope you're listening. Francisca is saying it's phenomenal what you have achieved. We've got Gifty Hoyomi. Good evening. Good evening, Ms. Gifty. Thank you very much. I think those are all the messages. So today we've dealt with case study one. Because of the time, I think we would like to probably open it if anybody in the public would like to have any words of encouragement for our lady, because it would be tricky to start the new case study. We'll save that for next week because we've got two other case studies. They're quite similar, and I'm really excited about that as well. It's actually flipping the script. But I think today, because of the time, we would probably like to really give the opportunity for anybody in the audience to join us and to see if they would like to share anything or say anything that might be encouraging or to probably relate to the story. Please let us know. Councillor Nav? I'm not able to see what's going on the thing. So, do we have any takers? Last week we had a very brave Pastor Janice. I really enjoyed having her, Mrs. Abankwa, our Reverend's wife. She was really amazing joining in. Do we have any takers? Francisca,
No,
Miss
not
Dol,
not at the moment, but
not at
I'm
the
still
moment.
asking. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Counselor Now. So I think maybe I can actually introduce our next case study, just to kind of, get everybody thinking for next week, just to prepare our minds for next week. And it's quite exciting. Not exciting in a positive, good way, in the sense that, oh, it's a good thing, but it's interesting because it's a mistake we often make. We always overlook things, don't we? We're always, when we think of trauma, we think about sexual abuse, we think about all these things. I think most of the time we think about women being the victims on the receiving end, or girls. But actually, there's been two case studies that have just come in this week to us. And it is about young boys being sexually violated and abused by older women. One is 14 years old, the other is 17 years old, and they're both in Ghana. And yeah, this is just the introduction. So I'm just putting it out there just for us to go off and really ponder on, ready for next week, so we can really have a good discussion. I'll just give the scenario. So the first one, a 14-year-old boy, has really been going through very distressed because an auntie has been coming into the house when the parents are off to work or wherever, and being a trusted adult, comes in and is sexually abusing this boy, you know, having sexual intimacy every time by force. And this poor boy has really struggled because he didn't know how to break the news to the parents. How do you go and talk about it? So over the last few weeks, we looked at it from the flip side, which was young girls being violated, being groomed, and all this. But this time it's flipped over, where it's actually the young boys on the receiving end. And then the second case study is also a 17-year-old boy. So the first one, the 14-year-old boy is feeling quite helpless because naturally he's actually quite young, and probably it would be a very traumatizing, very scary experience for him, because who are you going to talk to? Will they even believe you? But the 17-year-old has been so brave that he knows, he had that understanding that it is wrong. What is happening to him, or what he's experiencing, should not be happening. He's taken the bold step and actually gathered the courage, mustered the courage to go to the police, our law enforcing officers that are supposed to be protecting us. And this is in Ghana. And he went to the police, and it was really sad and shocking. It's actually despicable what he was told. He was actually told off to leave the place, the premises, and stop whinging and moaning, because even they, the adults, are looking for opportunities like this for someone to come and be doing that to them, and he has it free of charge. If your auntie is doing this, you'd be very thankful and grateful. I mean, what is the world really coming to? Honestly, it seems a bit funny, but actually it's not. And this, this young boy, his confidence has been completely shattered. And then it's kind of like, where do we go from here? What are we doing? What are we really doing? To the next generation, I really pity them. And for law enforcing officers to actually, a young person has come to you, there are more case studies we'll be unraveling. But it's really, 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 really disgusting behavior, I think. I don't know what you all think, but yeah, so this young boy then now had to take his sorrows and go back, still with no resolution, nothing done. So, what do we think is going to happen to his confidence in the law or the legal system? Or, if the police cannot even hear you out, yeah, let's say family can be a bit biased because there may be a conflict of interest. So he has mastered that courage to actually even bypass all the potential prejudiced, kind of probabilities or eventual like possibilities. And he's actually gone all the way straight to where he thinks he could be safe. Talking about this safety thing. So he decided to take charge. He has an understanding of what his trauma experience is. He's gone to seek safety and he was turned back. So I think this is enough food for thought for us to go off with, for next week. And then we'll all come back, hopefully, and we'll have very good thoughts about this. Oh, we've got somebody. Hi, Miss Melody. She says, hello, Miss Jasmine. Hi, Miss Melody. You're very welcome. I'm hoping you'd have something to say, though. I wish we're going to give like another couple of minutes. Please, I need someone from the audience to give us a take on our case study one from today, like Pastor Lena kindly pointed out. And then these case studies are food for thought for next week. So, yeah, so our counselors, have you got anything in the meantime before somebody joins in? Reverend Abanko, I see you smiling a lot. Have you got something you'd like to share with us?
I think from what everyone has shared, the young lady has every opportunity to restart her life.
Yes.
She's and as you pointed out, is a brave initiative for her to even bring this up for us as a case study to discuss, so which is because such things it's very, you want to keep it, you want to sort of cover up your dignity somehow, but to bring it for this discussion is a brave thing. And
Yes.
as has already been said, it's up to now, the issue is making that initiative, that step, that bold step. And if anybody is in the pipeline, please, I would say, try and give that individual a chance, because sometimes when we are bitten by a snake, we see a worm and we are scared, but not everyone is going to bite. So just take that booster. But then again, just look out for any trigger, because that's what you have to. You have to have a like a buffer, something to help you, because sometimes if you ignore triggers, sometimes the triggers can, or even if you can see, we can misinterpret triggers. So I think the key part is communication, because you have to be open and honest for whoever is going to come. This thing you don't cover up. You let the individual know, so the person knows what they are dealing with, and that, I believe, will help them to be able to establish this relationship in a way, a manner that it won't feel negative. It won't jeopardize. the relationship. So this is what I would chip in. It's a choice, and it's a bold step to take. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And I
Um,
think I would echo what you said though about the triggers and stuff like, so it comes back to when I was suggesting that it will be useful for her to get a sheet of paper.
Mm,
So she needs to, when it comes to being able to really identify what her trauma experience or what it is that is really kind of lingering at the moment. And it'll be useful during that space to actually identify what her triggers are and
mm,
what because she would know herself better. So it comes back to that control. So thank
mm.
you so much, actually, Reverend Abankwa, for highlighting that. Thank you. Thank you. I hope she's listening and I hope that she finds it very useful. Reverend Cynthia, did you have something to add? So we're going to be rounding up in a few
yeah.
minutes. For
I just wanted to like you spoke about collaboration, finding somebody that can help you through. I think it's very important. Sometimes we like I said, and because of what we've been through, going into another relationship, it becomes a trauma on its own
Mm,
for us. But and I believe that there are some men that will be able. There'll be someone who will be able to help you go through understanding or being aware of what you've been through. They will be able to help you. I was watching something. There's a news going on in the US about a lady that came from a violent relationship, very traumatized, and wanted to just walk on the street for for her to car to run her over. But somebody that was walking past was able to save her from that. And then she started talking to this person what she's been through. And the guy understood where she was coming from. I was able to help her through it. Now they're married. They have, I think, two children, third on the way, you know, because he understands the trauma that she's been through and the necessary step, whether it's therapy or whatever that they can help you go through. That will be, that you have the support, that backing, and so that will help you. So if anybody is coming into your life, or if there's anybody in your life, I just want to encourage you that be open, be vulnerable, be transparent, and let them know that if you say this, it triggers something. If you do this, it triggers something. I need you to support me so that we can live a happy life. So I think that's what I will encourage her to do. That don't be afraid to go into a relationship, but be open, let them know what you've been through. And if right from the start you see that this person is not there to help, there's no point wasting your time there. Otherwise, you bring all the baggage into the new relationship, and it won't help. So that's what I want to encourage her to do. Don't be
thank
afraid.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And also to the viewers, I just hope that actually we're all going to be leaving here today having that sort of basic understanding of trauma informed care. So when people have experienced trauma, when they've gone through really difficult times, let's not just wait and leave it to the professionals. We're all professionals.
Yeah.
We're each other's keepers. So sometimes, yeah, let's just keep an open, mind about things, and an open eye as well, so that we can really genuinely be each other's keepers. So I think I don't know, Councillor, now whether to go around for the closing remarks.
I just wanted to ask a question from what Reverend C said, because uh she tried to be in a relationship again, and she disclosed everything to the person, and later the person used those things against her. And so this time, in as much as she wants to enter into another relationship, she doesn't want to disclose anything. So what is your advice on that?
I
um,
oh, okay, I don't know if someone wants to.
Yeah. I think Reverend John said something that the fact that you've been bitten by a snake doesn't mean that everywhere you come across can also turn to a snake and bite you. Right. You see a worm that would be, will resemble a snake. And if you're not comfortable with, just ignore it. It's not every worm that will become a snake. So if the person that she disclosed with was not happy to be with her, she's not the support that she needs. She can go. But if you really want to be with somebody and they don't know what you've been through, the triggers, they might do it innocently, but it will trigger something in you that will make the relationship suffer. So I think, right, you can unravel it, by bits, to see how they will take it. Don't have to pour everything, but if they will understand you and take you each step of the way, I think that will help. But without them knowing, at some point it kind of crush the relationship, because they will come to realize certain things in your life that they might not be willing to continue with. Meanwhile, you've been in the relationship for so many years, and that will bring you back to the revolving door, and we don't want that.
Um,
And
I,
can I
if I'm,
please add one little thing as well? So I think that in terms of her being able to be the one to break the stuff, sometimes when you're actually the person who's experienced the trauma and you've got maybe the way she might be communicating it across or bringing it out might not be, especially for somebody who probably may not have, it depends on the person who's receiving the information as well, their understanding of trauma, their understanding of
Awareness.
these things. So
Mm.
ideally what I would probably recommend is if she did find somebody and she had a trusted person like you, Counselor Nab, or if she could come to any of us who kind of have that sound knowledge, or any of the counselors, anybody who's quite experienced maybe in being able to facilitate communication, they could actually then be that support to actually help break it to the person, to kind of do it in a way where if the person had some questions as well, they could ease them in and offer that kind of space for the person to also, because most people, it's not that they're being mean and they're using it against, because they just don't understand, and they may not, because they may not have experienced something like that before. It's quite difficult, isn't it? It's not relatable. So it's my little suggestion, humble suggestion would be, if she did find someone, even though Mommy is saying yes, if someone really cares, they will stick anyway regardless, isn't it? But then if she needed a bit of help to kind of maybe put it across to the person, removing her own self and her emotions and feelings from it. Because sometimes when people are talking about these things, it's that re-traumatization, and she might get a bit over emotional, and and sometimes the person receiving the information is not really thinking about the fact that, oh, this is really difficult for you. They're just looking at what they're seeing, and then it becomes off-putting as well. So yeah, it's about getting the support to be able to break that to people, I think. Sorry. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Our time is up, but then let me also ask this. So if your family, let's say extended family, like your parents, your parents and your other siblings that are supposed to be helpful to you, if all the time when you're around them and they keep bringing all this your past, which always bring you to that place, what do you suggest? Do you suggest that this person neglects this family, stay away from them, or what?
um, hmm, if I may speak, she may not totally neglect. She may not totally neglect them, but then if going around them always brings her back to her past, she will keep her distance. She will not, you don't, because you are a family, you can't cut yourself out of the family. But then you make sure that you keep your distance so that those, because already they are always throwing it at your face and it brings you back to you. So she shouldn't cut ties with them, but then she should limit her closeness or interaction with them. But they are her family. She can never stay out of them. She cannot cut them off. But then she should keep her distance, and that will help her.
All right.
Uh,
And
Thank
I
you
think
very much.
they also need to make the family know that when they bring it up, it brings back the trauma, it brings back the pain. So if you talk to them, to say that, I
I
don't
mean,
want
she
this.
she has, and they keep doing the same.
Okay,
She has.
okay, all
Yeah.
right. Then
Well,
I
anyway,
agree
she's
with,
listening to everything. So,
yeah, I
Reverend,
agree
yeah,
with.
Reverend Abanka. Okay, you
Yes,
wanted to.
thank you. Thank you. I was just going to say that I think What is the reason why the family are doing that? Have they got any agenda? Are they seeing that in a different light? What is it in it for them that they are doing this? Because in the first place, the person who lived with the trauma, the person who suffered the trauma, the person who went through all that difficult times, and whatever views they may have, they are not considering the individual in the center of this whole issue. They are rather focusing on what their family agenda is. And what is their
Yeah.
family agenda? Why would they with is like, for example, you want somebody who's maybe experiencing domestic abuse, has mentioned it and talked about it with the family, and is something very traumatic, and it's to a very severe, intense situation. Yet the family say, don't worry, you'll be all right, you don't have to. And they
Yeah.
want the person to still continue to live in it without really understanding what the person is going through. I think one, it may be lack of it's ignorance of what we
Yes.
are talking about, and
Yeah.
secondly, their family agenda. And if
Yeah.
it could be one or two of these two, and we have to deal down to because we have family therapy that sometimes
Yeah.
they do to
Yeah.
get them to understand what this has happened to this individual and what they are contributing to the trauma of this individual, because she's trying to separate that, she's trying to break away, but they are re-traumatizing her by bringing it up and painting
Yes.
it in her face, which is not healthy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our time is up, but I have other two questions, but I will just save it for next week for the sake of time. So Pastor Solomon says, I second what Reverend Cynthia is saying. When the right person comes, he or she will stay, and he or she would not do the same thing to hurt you. Yeah. And then Francisca says, I'll personally neglect them if they are constantly doing it and not regarding my feelings. I think even me, I'll do the same. I'll do the same no matter
Click
what it
and
is.
delete. It's click and
Yeah.
delete.
Click and delete. That's all. All right.
Block and block.
Yeah, and block.
Block it. Mommy, I like the
All right.
blocking.
Mm. Our time is up. I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you all for joining. I believe it's been a wonderful discourse, and I want to take the opportunity to thank you all, counselors. I really appreciate everything. God richly bless you. And so our time is fast spent. I will ask Reverend Irene to pray for all the souls all the people on, especially the people that are trusting God for healing from trauma.
Shall we pray? Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for opportunity like
Okay.
this. We thank
Reverend
you
Irene,
for
can you hear
bringing.
me, please? Oh, my
Yes,
internet is gone.
yes, I can hear you. Hello,
But Nancy, she's praying. She
hello.
started.
Okay.
Okay. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for the opportunity you
That's
gave
fine.
us
Yes.
to come and discuss issues that are bothering our sisters and our brothers and whoever is even on the viewing side watching us, who is going through any form of trauma. We pray that, Lord, in the name of Jesus, your blood that speaks better than the blood of Abel will speak into these people's life. They are going through pain, which is only you who can take away the pain from them, especially our sister that we discuss her case. We pray that you continue to be with her, give her the ablement to be able to forgive so that she can live a free life without holding anybody back. We also pray for all people in the same situation. Be their guide, protect all of them, give them the peace that they need so that they can break through even this that they are going through. We also thank you for the life of the counselors and the panelists and the hosts. The Father, to give us wisdom and knowledge so that anytime we come on air, we'll be able to bring hope onto other people, we'll be able to give people hope and build up their faith
and give them the necessary guidance so that they will be able to navigate through their traumas. We know that you are a prayer answering God, and we pray that by the next time we meet, our sister will have a testimony to share that at least he has started something and it's yielding results. We thank you for answered prayers. In Jesus' name, we pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
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 And there may be some internet
Yeah.
issues. Counselor now. Yeah.
Amen. Amen. Thank you all for joining. God bless you. And we will see you same time next week, God willing. Have a good night, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Uh,
I think the internet is playing up.
Yeah.
It's still live, so it should
Yeah.
be
Yes, it is.
fine. I'm gonna call her. Bye, everyone. We're gonna all leave now.
Okay. Bye.
Okay.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye.